if Kari Lake holds on to her lead in the governor's race, Donald Trump will have batted 1,000 in the Arizona election. Every candidate he backed won. So we've got a question mark on Lake because that has not been called. Here are the other races. Obviously, Mark Finchem, he's a winner. He for Secretary of State. Then you've got, we mentioned Blake Masters, that's U.S. Senate. He's in. Abe Hamadeh, Arizona Attorney General, he's in. Then you had a couple of really closely watched legislative races. Farnsworth beats Rusty Bowers, the House Speaker, in that East Valley State Senate race. And then Wendy Rogers in another, she was Trump-backed, she beats Kelly Townsend in another state Senate race that drew the former president's attention. Marissa Sarbak now with how this Trump stuff, we'll call it the seal of approval from former President Trump, how that will play in November.
Well, John, it's going to be interesting because campaigning for a primary is very different than campaigning for a general election like we'll see in November. We spoke with a local political expert, and he says they really have two options here. One, as a candidate, is stick to the message and the agenda that you have been pushing during the primaries and really double down on it. The other is to kind of steer focus away from that and actually focus on some less obviously political issues about how you can unite Arizonans and make the state a better place.
The Republican Party is pretty deeply divided. We saw that last night.
The party has seemingly split in two, Republicans and Trump Republicans.
Trump endorsement is worth about 40%.
Trump-endorsed candidates came out on top in the biggest primary races that have been called, with all eyes on the governor's race yet to be called. But now they have a whole new task: win voters in the general election in November.
The challenge with that is there's 24% of the general electorate that's going to be unaffiliated voters. So they act as the swing vote in the general election. So what are you saying to them? And how do you get them into the game?
Political expert Chuck Coughlin says in primaries, candidates often campaign as far left or as far right as they can to rally every voter in their party. But in order to win a general election, they have to refocus.
Kelly did that in 20. Sinema did it in 18. They talked about being an Arizonan, being a problem solver, working together, you know, that narrative that's more inclusive.
But for these Trump-endorsed candidates, Coughlin says he doesn't expect that as we head towards November. He expects a doubling down on messages and a continued attack on Democrats.
Joe Biden, inflation, the economy, you can't trust these people to lead the state. And so try and avoid the divisions that exist within the Republican Party, create a common enemy in Biden and the Democrats, and create that unity around the party that way.
So each of these candidates really has a fine line to walk. They want to strike that balance between not alienating the voters they were able to rally during the primaries, but also to gather the support of those possible swing voters that we would see turn up in the November election. And with only 3 months to go, the clock is certainly ticking. Reporting live in Phoenix, Marissa Sarbak for Fox 10 News.